Welcome to Stampin' Storytellers. Today I have a card using product from our annual catalog, the Stampin' Up 2019-2020 annual catalog. Today we're going to use this Floral Essence stamp set. It has great floral images and some great encouraging sentiments, and it has a punch that punches out this flower. So you just stamp 2 or 3 and layer them together to make a flower. We've used that lots in my videos. And then the other stamp set that we're going to use is this Textured Essentials, and this is just, they're like mini background stamps, and I think I've used it once. I used this stamp once, and that's it. So I needed to ink it up again. Then I'm going to pair it with one new item from the January to June 2021 mini catalog. These are pastel pearls. They're part of a hydrangea suite, and these are beautiful colors, and I don't think you'd get them to look this nice if you were coloring all of your pearls with your Stampin' blends, and it's convenient that they're already colored. Then I've used the textured embossing folder, and we're using this Seaside Spray metallic ribbon. So to get started, I have a Misty Moonlight card base that's 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. Fold that in half. Then I have a layer of Whisper White for the inside. We can stamp on that, so I guess I'll leave it out. Then for the front of our card, I have a layer of Misty Moonlight that is embossed with that texture embossing folder. This is 5 by 3 3/4, and then 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 layer of Whisper White. The layer for the inside is 5 1/4 by 4. Then I have a scrap of Seaside Spray. I was going to say soft sea foam. Seaside Spray. And this is too long, but it needs to be about 2 inches. I'm going to cut this down after I stamp on it. And then I just have a scrap of Whisper White. I have pre-die cut 2 of these border pieces from the Ornate Layers dies, which is this die here. One of my favorites for sure. And then I have 2 white sprigs and 2 vellum sprigs. So we'll set those aside. And this label is from the Hippo and Friends dies. You see there's some glue on it. Cover that part up. So first thing we'll do is stamp on our inside layer and our scrap of Whisper White. You find a scrap piece of paper. The ink colors we're using are Night of Navy and Seaside Spray. So I'll start with the largest floral image and stamp that in Night of Navy. And then I have like the medium floral image, and we'll do that in Seaside Spray. Then while I have this out, I'm going to stamp the Seaside Spray image in the bottom of our inside layer. And maybe we'll add just a hint of these. There we go, something like that. Then in this stamp set are the centers for each flower, and they're all different. So the first one is a round center, and I'm going to ink that up in Night of Navy, stamp off, and then stamp it down. And that's a really, I'm just going to stamp it one more time, a really close color to Misty Moonlight. And then the other one is kind of like a half moon. Oops, snap it off. And stamp it down. So it makes it a little more subtle than stamping them in Night of Navy. And of course you can use Misty Moonlight. I was just trying to use only 2 ink pads. And then on our label, I have one of the sentiments in this set, and I'm going to ink it up in Night of Navy, stamp off, and stamp it as far right as I can go on that label, just like that. Now we're going to fussy cut these out because they don't have dies, and they will look like this. So now we can start assembling our card. Oh no, scratch that. Cut these out, put them aside. I'm a little rusty. Now we need to stamp on this layer in our Seaside Spray. So this is the image that I'm using, and I'm just going to ink it up and stamp it as close together as I can, but trying not to overlap the images. So that it looks like one big background stamp. Then we can close our ink pads. And get your paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut this down to 2 1/4. So I'm just going to cut on the edge of where my images end. Maybe I will do 2. Okay, I'll cut this again. I want it to look like it was a piece of paper and not have an edge of the stamp on it. So you can then cut this down to 5 1/8 if you wanted. I'll just cut a little bit off so that it's not so bulky, but we're just going to trim off the ends anyway. So now on this Seaside Spray layer, I can glue these on. So I just put a thin bead of adhesive on either one and line it up. I like to leave just a little bit of white in between the holes and the DSP, my own DSP that I made. And then we're going to adhere this layer onto our Misty Moonlight layer that's embossed. So press that down, and then we'll just trim off the ends. And I like doing this so that it's actually the exact right length. If you cut everything to 5 1/8, it might not end up being the proper length. It'll be a little bit long, or it'll be a little bit short, and I don't like it when things aren't completely straight on the side. So this is easy to do. Then we'll adhere that onto our Whisper White layer. Or sorry, this Misty Moonlight layer is by 5, so you could cut everything down to 5. But like I said, I think that this is just as easy. Then I'm going to add my label. Put it right about there. And then our flowers up on dimensionals. How many dimensionals do you guys go through? Do you go through a lot, or do you hardly use them? So put that flower there. This one, I think I'm going to tuck one more under the edge, and then it'll kind of stick both of them together. Right like that. Then I have my sets of sprigs. These are from the Sprig Punch, and I'm just going to interlock 2 of them. One vellum one and one Whisper White one, and then put them on a glue dot. And tuck them under. And then same thing with these ones. And oh no, we were angle those up where there isn't a dimensional and press it down. And then our last embellishment is, or second last, we need a big beautiful bow from this Seaside Spray ribbon. This was a carryover from our holiday catalog in 2018, I guess, and then they added it into our annual catalog, and it's a really nice ribbon. And trim those ends. I'm going to add that just at the very end of my sentiment there. So we'll add this big layer to our card base. And I really like these colors together. They're like soft, muted blues compared to a big bright card. And then our inside layer, and you could add another sentiment on the inside if you'd like, or you have lots of room to write. Oh, and I didn't do the inside of that flower. There we go. I was a little high on my first stamp, so I just stamped it again to fill in with like a shadow. Now we get to add some of these pearls, and my guess is that these are Gorgeous Grape or Highland Heather, Seaside Spray, Purple Posy, and Blushing Bride. So obviously I'm just going to use the Seaside Spray ones. Oops. There we go. So just sprinkled some of those on there. And that's laying funny. That's okay. So there's my beautiful card using the Floral Essence stamp set from our Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. So even though the January to June catalog is available now, don't forget about these products. This catalog ends May 3rd, so it ends a month earlier than we're used to. So make sure you don't miss out on these products. And these background images are great to add to any sentiment, or use these florals with other sentiment stamp sets that just were recently released. A great addition to your stamping room. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to purchase any of the products I've used or any other Stampin' Up! Products, you can shop my online store, use this host code. I'll send you a make and take in the mail. My blog is stampinstorytellers.blogspot.com. Sale-a-Bration is on now. For every $60 you spend, you get to choose an item from the Sale-a-Bration brochure. There are a couple larger items that you get when you spend $120. You can choose the larger items. And then, I don't even know where. Here's my other catalog. This This catalog is now online. If you haven't received one in the mail and you would like one and you don't have a current demonstrator, I'd love to send you a catalog. Just message me your name and address and where you want it sent. Then I can mail it out to you, and I'll mail you both at the same time. If you're one of my customers and you haven't received one, I had Stampin' Up! Send them, and if you for some reason haven't gotten it yet, then I can resend them. So message me too, and I'm happy to share my love of Stampin' Up! With you. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye!